Hello there, I'm Tim and he's John, and this is How to Murder Time, a video about EverQuest today.
We appear to be staring at inappropriately attired lady.
That's Feronia V.I.E., who is like the spokesmaiden of the EverQuest franchise. She's on all the box art and everything.
Oh,
it was a simpler time, as the banner shows.
Wasn't she played by Heather Graham or something?
No, Heather Graham was in EverQuest 2.
Okay.
She's Antonia Banderas. I don't know, I can't remember. It escapes me. So here we are in EverQuest. It's
I've never played EverQuest.
Did you know EverQuest is still going?
Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the MMOs you ask me, is that still going? This is the most likely to have not been the case.
That's because EverQuest broke you.
EverQuest broke me. This is an unashamedly nostalgic trip down my memory lane that I'm going to drag you all with me on, dear viewer. So here we are in the Plane of Knowledge, which is a kind of... I don't really understand the Plane of Knowledge. I haven't really been here in a while. It's a kind of hub zone that lets you travel between various different places because the original content of EverQuest, everywhere's massively far apart, literally miles that take actual hours to cross between.
That's because the entire game was designed about keeping you too busy to actually progress.
Yes, we've used the portal to Kelethin here, which is the Wood Elf city. There you go. That's the Plane of Knowledge book. That's the thing you use to teleport in and out, apparently. I don't know. I don't hold with these newfangled books.
Pause for a second?
Yes?
To appreciate the MIDI. That MIDI.
That MIDI.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I had that playing through my head over and over on a repeated loop for perhaps 4 or 5 hours a night, 7 days a week for 2 whole years, around 1999 to 2000.
Yes.
This is where I grew up. I'm showing you the old stomping ground, see? Ooh. This is where I cut my teeth in MMO. This map is new, by the way. I don't know. Kids today have it easy with like maps and things. Previously, you had to use graph paper and a pencil.
Haven't seen another player yet.
No, you probably won't throughout the entire of this video. There was a time when that hill there, the Wolf Hill there, it would have been crawling with new players gogging at the super realistic virtual reality that you're now seeing in front of you. And it's super high-res textures and elaborate trees.
I'm trying to find out what level you are, but I can't see anywhere on the...
I don't know. Yeah,
it's not on the UI anywhere.
No, it'll show up. I think I'm 3. I created this character briefly to just have a look around. You have to actually use that pillar to make the lift come down.
Oh.
Now this lift was notorious because about every 6th trip or so you'd lag through the bottom of it and then die from the fall damage because it couldn't quite sync correctly with your character.
Okay.
So I'm quite glad there's no one else in the zone at the moment.
How does that lift work?
I don't know. Magic. A wizard did it, probably. Elven stuffs. So this is the stupidly dangerous and slightly reminiscent of Endor Treehouse City.
Wow.
Kelethin. That is an original model female wood elf. They at some point between in the
I'm glad you clarified every single part of that description.
At some point they did a pass on all the player models and made them more detailed. You'll see some of the updated ones as we go through. Note the almost complete lack of handrails here, and also notice that the downslopes on these planks are such that when you're stood on that platform at the top, you can't see the ramp when you're approaching it. So I've often there you go. Yep, almost entirely missing there. I've often hit the wrong edge of one of these platforms and plummeted to my death. A fall from here will kill a level 1 character quite comfortably. Falling damage, see? They could do it in the olden days.
Yeah.
Many MMOs today don't have them. Yeah, so here I am now trying This is me trying to remember where the Druid Guild Hall is, in the hope of perhaps finding one of the so-called quests that EverQuest is famous for. There were loads and loads of quests, and that was a real innovation back in those days.
You're wandering around in circles.
I'm lost, frankly.
And you can't find your way down.
Yes, I'm having trouble with heights. Too many memories of like having to do corpse runs underneath my own home city. Yes. The map's no use at all, by the way. I think it has up and down levels, but I got confused. Yes.
Yeah.
The famously navigable Kelethin. So I started EverQuest. It was my very first MMO, and that was about 2000. So it was about 6 to 9 months later after it launched. Cause it took that long to appear in our computer game shops. Do you remember computer game shops?
I remember them fondly.
Yeah. It was on a shelf in there, and I think Ultima Online was there.
Yes, because you were playing this, and then I rebelled. But
you had to go at Ultima Online, and then decided to save your sanity and not become an addict like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 16 years later, who's the better man now? Or something. I'm not having the last laugh, clearly.
No, neither of us are.
Yeah. So, yeah, here we are. This was so realistic and so thriving back in the day. I mean, you'll see no players at all here now. This is on, I think, the Vox server or the Antonica Bale server or something like that. They have a whole list of servers, and there are actually a lot of people playing this game, but they're all over in a new starter city. I tried to create a new character and ended up sent to somewhere called Crescent's Reach, and apparently there's like a race of half-dragon people that's playable now, and that's their home city. And that area is a lot more detailed and a lot higher resolution. It almost looked on a par with launch content EverQuest 2.
Wow.
Yes, it's itself a game that's like 7 or 8 years old. So it's definitely a game for the nostalgic, and almost no one else. Hey look, waypoint tracking, where did that come from? Kids today have it so easy. So there's a glowing trail, which I had to resort to because I'd forgotten my own. You know how when, like, 10 years later you go back to a place when you were a kid, and it's all changed, they've knocked down the old pub, there's a supermarket there, where did the shops go? It was very much like this, only they hadn't really remodelled this zone. I was quite pleased they hadn't remodelled this zone. This does look more or less like it did at launch. A couple of the starter zones I saw had been... There we go, that's a new model, Wood Elf.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think of the female type. You can see her midriff, so it's probably not a man. Soldiers of Tunair. No, is that the Rangers? Is that my lot? Fade Out Champions, Soldiers of Tunair. I think So.
It's hidden round the back.
No, just the trail is leading me into a wall at the back of the building. That's me nervously looking. Handrail here.
Wow.
Yeah. No, can't get in. No door here. Damn you, glowy trail, with your lack of pathfinding. I give up at this point and decide to use the front door that I could see on the way in.
Yeah.
Yes. See that keg thing? That was the crafting. It had trade skills. Oh yeah, that was for brewing. Hello. Right now. So yeah, there we go. Here's an example. That on the right. There you go. You can see an old style, a launch content style female wood elf. There.
That is so cute.
It's the extra pains they've taken to use the pointy ears there. And then I think that's the male versions there. That one in the middle is a new style one, and that's an old style one. I don't know why he's wearing a massive plate helmet. That's a bit weird. That was always the case back then. So there we go. And that was the limits of avatar expression back in 1999. So here we go. You can train various skills. It has attributes. You know, it's got a character sheet, none of which I ever understood in my 2 years in this game.
That's because you weren't very good at it.
I wasn't very good at it, no. So there's some stuff where you type to get your quests. You don't have exclamation marks over the heads at all. That's a later innovation. You have to target them and press H, which makes your character go in local chat. Hail character name at the bottom there. You can see the main chat window there. He comes back with a bunch of stuff, which you just have to stare at. That's it. That's a quest. I think if you go away and find the weapons he's talking about and left-click them on him, you can give them to him and he'll give you something in exchange. And that's basically it. The more elaborate quests, as we're about to see... Hello. Oh, a bit of a shimmy there. Yeah, there we go. So you put hail there. Square bracketed text. And at some point since I was last there, they actually turned those into hyperlinks that you can actually click on. I know, that blew my mind, that. Normally you have to actually use local chat to reply to them with the bracketed words in your sentence with a question mark on the end.
And they're just constant dumbing down in these days.
And people say EverQuest was obtuse. Absolutely, there we go. Look, I am ready to begin my training, I say. And here comes the next piece of dialogue and a whole bunch of stuff, and I now need to go off and find a list of monsters. Here's the character sheet, by the way. That is it. Yep. You can put bags in those slots on the side. I am level 3 at this point. There's your level bar. I have waking nightmares about that yellow strip slowly advancing pixel at a time, because in about 2 years of EverQuest 1 I managed a maximum character level of 30.
Yeah.
Out of 50 at the time. I think it went up to 60 while I was there. I was there for the Kunark, Velius and Lucklin expansions. Do you know how many expansions EverQuest 1 has now?
7.
21, I think. I may have lost track somewhere. I think the later ones are more what you'd call DLC and unlock packs, but back then, yeah, they pretty much defined what an expansion meant in MMO terms with the Kunark one. Vast, whole new continent, new race, a new class. You know, we all sort of came to expect that as the standard rations. It's all changed nowadays, I guess. I have no idea what any of those pieces of equipment in those slots are. Armour, I suppose. I think I go third person at some point in a minute, which again is like sort of stepping into the monolith of 2000 in the film 2001 back then. Yeah. I can't remember if it had third person. I think it might have done. That was quite an innovation. Nowadays it's all third person. No one bothers with first person view anymore.
Tragic.
Unless you're shooting a bow or something.
Bring more first person.
I think I'm stood here literally have a pencil and paper writing down the list of monster gunk I need to get this quest done at this point, which is why the pause. Right, we're off. Let's go and do some adventuring.
Yay!
Finally.
Jump off the edge.
I got to try and find my way out of the city first. This may take some time. So yeah. No, steady.
See, it's a bit lighter to throw you off, but that's just coincidence.
It's a little bit higher, but that will still kill me. Yeah.
Okay.
That fog is me with maximum draw distance turned on, by the way.
Yeah, back in the day that was necessary.
Yeah, you had to make everywhere foggy or it would blow computers up. So I imagine I was playing this on a 486 DX66.
No, you've probably moved on since then.
Or was it a very early Pentium?
It was probably a Pentium by then.
Yeah. With very small numbers for memory and hard disk, I'm sure. No. Okay. Oh, handrail. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, you're lost, aren't you?
I'm lost. Okay, good. Right. So while the past Tim works his way out of this city, yes.
Jump. They don't have falling damage, and you can recover your body from the bottom anyway.
Yeah, corpse runs. Yeah, I don't die during this video because I was terrified. I was terrified of dying in EverQuest because it actually meant XP loss. I've never seen. No MMO does that. Sometimes you'll have XP debt, which means that you earn a bit less on future XP as you're adventuring, and you pay that off. You could lose levels in here. If you only had a smidgen of XP into the level you were on and you died, you would go back a level and the abilities that unlocked for the level you were on ceased to work. You had to really earn it. They hated their players. Here's a nice feature. Here's something you don't see. All these NPCs, okay, that's a noble. Presumably that's their, some sort of ultra currency. It costs 100,000 game platinum. I think we're dealing with a massively hyperinflationary economy in which no players exist. But yes, the NPC merchants in here keep the stuff, you sell them, and you can buy it back. I'm not talking about a buyback tab. Anyone can buy stuff back. So if you were hunting for wolf testicles or whatever to make a stew, and you couldn't find any, you could try all the local merchants and see if any of the other players had offloaded their junk loot onto them, and they would be available to buy back. And I'd love to see that rolled back out to everyone, you know?
Yeah.
All the trash loot that you don't want that you just vendor off, make that available for other people to buy back. Yeah, put a bit of a premium on it, but keep the utility going. Keep. It's a good way to sort of distribute harvesting and so on. I don't know if this thing has an auction house. I think they added one with Lucklin expansion, and the auction house involved you turned your own character into an NPC merchant and had to be logged in all the time.
Brilliant.
It was such a stupid idea. I think it might have come from Far Eastern MMOs where that kind of thing happens a lot. Hello, you got some stuff and some square bracket text?
Got the reading. Tasks!
Yeah, where are they? How many?
Oh!
This is a quest tracking system that they added at some point since I was last there. That blew my mind. You could open a window and it could remind you of things you need to do.
I like the short, long, and medium length.
These are all relative terms. This is EverQuest 1 we're talking about. Short would mean you could feasibly complete it in a week of diligent play. Yeah. No, there's a map of the zone.
I would have not rendered all that text.
Quite helpful, as you can see. There's the map of the continent I want. The familiar Fadua Island there. The different connections to various zones, and there's me spotting that there's a whole load of new labels on there. And whoa, where did these other 8 continents come from? When I were young, it launched with only 3. The big one in the middle, and Fadua and Odus.
Isn't Luclin a moon?
Luclin is the moon, yeah. That's why it's got that sort of fuzzy outline with stars around it. And it has an underground section. Is the bit where the trolls and the ogres live. That's distant lands of mystery and exoticism for me, because it was a real effort to travel anywhere in this game. I mean, throughout the course of this video, I think I just about make it from the Wood Elf City to the High Elf City, which is in the same zone, and it still takes a good 10-minute jog.
Jump!
I don't want to jump, because death is terrible and has harsh consequences. So, right, let's do a bit of hunting. Let's find a note. That's a guard.
Don't hunt the guards.
Oh, so many times I was killed by guards. Because if you have them targeted and accidentally press A when you're trying to type a response without having pressed enter, A is the hotkey to attack, and you are stood face to face in melee range.
Does your character know his trousers are too short?
His trousers are a bit short, yeah. I don't know what all that blue, that wonderful armour tinting system they've got going on there.
Well, tinting is a strong word.
Daubing. Alright, here we go, Skellington. Okay, check, click. Okay, stop, look, listen. What difficulty is that? That's blue. I think we might survive this.
Ooh, particles.
Yeah, I don't know where that movie-grade explosion and pyrotechnics came from. It was significantly more rudimentary than that in my day. It was just a series of vague
He's
red
running
sparkles.
away, the coward.
They do. They run away when they get to low health. Don't see that so much nowadays.
Skeleton parts.
That's an advanced.
We call them
loot.
bones.
That's an advanced loot window, which apparently is a new feature. I don't know. You have to right-click on the corpse in my day. Yeah, here we go. Check out me and my leafy waistcoat and super svelte hips. That's a fine figure I'm cutting there.
Yeah, you're not really a fashion icon, are you?
Not really animating much either. But then you didn't in EverQuest, you know. It's very much sort of Team America emergency signal type animation going on. There we go. Look, a club. Now, is this club better than the club I already have? No, it's identical. Ah, damn you! Mind you, you couldn't really expect any upgraded loot for at least another sort of 20 or 30 gameplay hours, so I think that's probably fine. Orc porn. There we go, that one's blue as well. See, this is the expectation that's developed in modern MMOs, is that you would expect to have no trouble killing a yellow grade difficulty monster.
Well, going by how well you're doing, I think they've probably dumbed this down so that's true as well.
I think they have too as well. I remember just generally everything being a bit more difficult than my... I think at some point in the past they must have yanked some levers or something. So here I go, using my 4-point fire spell. Gone! Yeah, die! That orc's really modern as well. Look at it.
I like that
it's like photorealistic
skeleton walk by.
Yeah, they do that. You don't care. Yes, I'm a mighty hero. I'm going to scout this orc.
You took the. That's.
I don't know what to do with it, but loot of any kind was.
Is that normal mapping?
No, I think it's quite exotic mapping. See what I did there? Hello. Who are you? What are you doing? Have you got a quest for me? This is EverQuest. I was led to believe there would be quests.
I believe this character was animated by somebody who's never seen a human being.
I don't think many of the original EverQuest teams saw many people, no. So here I am, in the woods.
Is that why suddenly some really weird wind... Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. And this basically is EverQuest gameplay. You do this for like 4 or 5 hours a night for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then eventually you'll be powerful enough to go to a place where it isn't foggy and there aren't trees.
Wow.
And you get there by a boat, which you have to actually wait for the boat to turn up. I'm going to roll up a pixie. Here we go. Look, a different sort of monster. Rejoice for the diversity. Yeah.
The lighting's
She's not wearing a lot.
No.
She's got blue skin. I'm just going to blow her up with my fire, because that's what EverQuest has taught me about life, really. I learned a lot about life from EverQuest. What you're not seeing here is the almost constant state of fearful paranoia that I spent my 2 years on, because I, in my infinite wisdom, decided to play on a free-for-all PvP server.
Yeah, I think that may have coloured your views.
Anyone who knows me knows it damaged me quite a bit, and took quite a while to get to my current state of normality as a result. I'm quite anti-PvP as a result. Not because I'm some sort of moralistic thumping people should be better than that type, but because I've been through the rough end of it all. This hill here would be where the new Wood Elves would start, and every sort of 10th character that got created would immediately go on some kind of killing spree of all the players around them. You were allowed to attack, kill and loot players within 4 levels of you. I mean, I'm amazed they had that kind of restriction at all either. Presumably the initial PvP server rule set where there was no rules at all was probably a bit harsh, even for that. So, yeah, I spent a lot of my time on this server hiding. A druid is a good class for that. You get invisibility, you get fast travel powers, you can go to very remote corners of the world and hopefully not see any other players for like weeks at a time. Which kind of is not the point of MMOs.
No.
Ironically, I did try a blue rule set server, a Care Bear server, initially, and found it boring.
Yeah.
But I incorrectly identified where the source of what the problem was there, and decided that life would be a lot more interesting if we could have real fights with the Dark Elves, and it would be like, you know, like in all the books, trashy books I used to read at the time, and they'd be like mustachio twirling villains and stuff. And this game taught me a lot about the real nature of evil, so that was good. What the hell is that? That is clearly a new monster.
How can you tell?
Because it has more than 4 polygons. It doesn't look like it's a spaceship from Elite. Yes, so, okay, so this is Crushbone, the route to Crushbone. So once you've done your like 400 hours on that little hill by the lift, you are then powerful enough to go up and deal with the nearest orc camp. I got bored about 10 minutes into making this video, so here we go. I've got no real sort of hope of being able to deal with any of the monsters here. You notice the targeting is bringing them up as red and yellow. I should really get another 4 or 5 levels before I come here, but we're going to go and have a look anyway, because it's an integral integral part of my
You
childhood.
don't get games where you need 4 or 5 levels to do the stuff 2 feet to the left anymore.
Kids have it easy today. That's the sort of thing that old gaffers say, and it worries me I'm turning into one. But really, EverQuest was hardcore MMO. And this is the sort of thing that people bang on about when they say games are too easy these days. They're people who've played a lot of this and have cut their teeth and grown up on this kind of thing. So we're sort of heading... So Crushbone is a dungeon zone to the north. Oh god, spiders and orcs, what do I do? But that one, you press C, and the little chat window on the lower left tells you a little bit about the monster. Whoa, I'm being attacked! Fight back for my life. Now, I'm expecting to die here, because this one's yellow, so I just thought, I'm going to sell my life dearly, probably, and just start frantically hitting the fire spell lots and lots and lots. And remarkably, I survived, which tells me that they've definitely dumbed down EverQuest 1.
Yeah.
In the 16 years it's been there. This would have hosed me back in the day. There's me remembering I have a buff that I forgot to put on. Hurrah! Skin like wood. Very minor armour buff. Spell thing. Yes, hit it with the stick. Hit it with the club. Keep setting it on fire, or whatever that weird sort of foamy meringue stuff is.
I miss ground that look like that.
Yeah, look at the texture detail.
And the fact that it doesn't actually line up on the right.
Oh yeah, you can see the join. Yeah. See, this isn't just me running in some crazy low res mode as well. I have every detail setting it is possible to turn on, set to maximum.
Still, you're getting a smoky silver.
Yeah.
Smoky silver.
Silky smooth.
Silky smooth frame rate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The FPS is not a problem for EverQuest. That's one. That's one point in its favour, I guess. I like how they run away. They don't tend to do that a lot in most MMOs these days. But if he reaches other creatures, they will come for me. That's why I'm quite nervous at this point. Train to the zone. A train, for those who have no idea, is basically when you've got 5 or 6 of those bad boys on your tail and you're just legging it, because in the olden days monsters couldn't cross zone borders or transitions, so if you could make it to the loading point for the other zone, you were safe. You'd eventually just come barreling down this very narrow corridor where all the other adventurers were busy setting up for their go, and bringing a whole load of monsters, and when you hit that zone transition, you vanish, drop off its hate table, the monster then just looks around and starts wailing on whoever's sat near the zone. It was a nightmare. They had to come up with a whole play nice policy about camping spawns and about training mobs onto people and so on, and that's just for normal servers. That's not with the hell of free-for-all PvP attached on top as well. It's a wonder I managed 2 years, to be honest, without having some sort of nervous breakdown, but there you go. And I sort of look at it as a kind of badge of honour, but also a kind of shameful secret. You know, I just don't know how. It's like 2 years wasted that I probably could have saved myself.
Yeah.
But for some reason, addiction, I suppose, compulsion, I just kept sticking it out. I did make quite a few friends on the server, quite a few folks who are quite into the role-playing stuff, and that was a kind of salvation. But I kind of, in retrospect, I now think that we're all keeping each other prisoner on this hell, you know.
Your mana's coming back very slowly.
Yes, see the blue bar in the top corner there? That's me. I'm spent, and that would take about half an hour to come back. Back in the day, so I think they've pulled some levers here again as well. I think they've given all characters the meditate skill for free at level 1, whereas I think back in the day you had to be level like 30 or so before you got it. There's me, tool tipping on the XP bar. I think I get 4% of a level's worth of XP per kill that I worked out from these mouse overs, which seems inordinately fast. It's like galloping through this content. It's just going to...
You'd be done in weeks.
I know, I'll get burned out of the game. We'll have nothing to do. But the game's huge. There must be something like 250 zones in there now. Something like that. 100 zones, 150, somewhere anyway. And even back in the day, it was enormous. There was like 70 or 80 locations, different zone maps like this, all connected through different weird obscure things. One of them was an underground cavern network in the Velius expansion that you found by double clicking on a snowball in a hut inside an orc fortress.
Okay.
Don't ask me, I just worked there, kinda. It felt like work a lot of the time. Here we go. I've gone back to where I'm supposed to be. That was the big thing with EverQuest 1. It was a massive, exciting and interesting world full of varied and wild terrain like we're seeing here. And you would get killed if you went to most of it. So you had to go where you were supposed to be at all times. And that sort of paved the way for MMO design going forward, to be honest. You had 3 MMOs back then. You had Ultima Online, which I'm less familiar with. I had a bit of a dabble. I think you're more of an expert on that than I am.
Yeah.
They had this, and you had Asheron's Call, which I think is still going. But I had to
yes.
I had a go at going back in there, but apparently they use some weird network protocol, which means that my router won't let me connect. There's literally nothing I can do to get back on there, apart from, trying to completely redesign my internet connectivity. This is the Priest of Discord. He is the one that lets you turn your PvP flag on. I'm walking away and not making eye contact because I've been hurt too many times in the past.
I don't think having your PvP flag on would be a problem.
No, this is lovely. This would be dreamy back in the day. A PvP server. Other players are threat. Other players are danger. I would go to inordinate lengths to find out the way hiding spots to level up, or try to. There we go. Now this is me sitting and meditating. I've tool-tipped on the bar.
Oh, that's going up really quickly.
Yeah, but imagine that spellbook fills the entire screen when you do this, and so you can't see if anything coming while you're dealing with your spellbook.
That's not a problem.
On a PvP server. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, see at the very bottom lower left, you see you have got better at meditate. That skill wasn't normally granted to druids until level 30, so you would actually gain mana about half or a quarter of the speed that you're doing here.
It sounds delightful.
I literally had time to iron shirts in between pulls when I was playing it the first time through. I would do housework while I was waiting to be able to play the game again. Nowadays, I'd be surprised if you wait 10 seconds between fights in a contemporary MMO. It just comes back very quickly when you're out of fight, and that's a good thing. This is the thing. This was the old school. This is doing it properly, and it was awful. Not all innovation is bad. Not everything is dumbing down, and not all dumbing down is a bad thing. Because ultimately, we're supposed to be playing this stuff to have fun, And
we are.
I sort of had fun, I guess, but now I recognise a lot of it as Stockholm Syndrome.
You had no fun.
Modern MMOs are much better than this, because this just, I don't know, it had a much more inflated sense of its own integrity. This is something we're seeing with Rift. We're seeing that Tryon do a fantastic job in Rift of breaking their own rules in order to let players have fun together. You got level mentoring. I think there's a mentoring system in here now, something called Shrouds, where you can turn into an animal that's a lower level, and you can skeleton trapped in the tree, he can stay there. Yeah, they've got some sort of mentoring system. I don't know about group dependency role switching, though. I imagine that's probably set in stone in here still. Giant wasp drone. Gonna try it. Gonna try my luck. I think I've got some mana back now. I can now fight some more. Yeah. I think a lot of people get quite cross that modern MMOs are accessible and that modern MMOs are easy and fun and lightweight. And I don't see that as a problem at all, to be honest. I'm here speaking as a veteran of the old days. This here, even this that we're doing now, is easy mode compared to the way it was. And that might sound like the old gaffer complaining about it being uphill both ways in the snow, and perhaps I am. But I think, it's impossible not to learn lessons from this kind of thing. Do you know why World of Warcraft is so successful?
Because it's not this.
Because at the time it launched, this was the pinnacle of MMOs. It launched almost in the same week as EverQuest 2, and prior to that, Anarchy Online was there. I think Star Wars Galaxies predates WoW. But the idea that an MMO is something that can be played alone and should be allowed to be played alone. The reason this is so difficult, and the reason I'm making such slow progress and it's all taking so long to come back and meditate, is because I'm supposed to go out and find 5 random strangers to help me fight this stuff. It was such a group dependency game, and people, I think modern people, tend to resent that a lot of MMOs are soloable, and I don't at all. I think soloing's fine for MMOs, particularly if you're doing quests or narrative or story or that kind of stuff, and then reserve the group content for dungeons or small corners of the world where we're going to have a lot of elite mobs and stuff. The concept of an elite mob didn't exist in this game. There were monsters that had very high hit points, but you just went out there and you dealt with it, or you fought the things. But it was always calibrated that you were expected to have 5 friends of complementary overlapping roles. I mean, the tanking and the healing and the DPS, the Trinity stuff, that sort of game, that was born in this game. And they were never, it was never overtly, the roles weren't overtly described to players. You had to work it out for yourself. But it was what the fights were designed around. So I'm going off on a journey now. I'm bored of the Elf City. Let's go hit the road. Let's find some new and exciting things. Hello, who are you? Let me just check. Oh, look, there you go. Right, bottom corner. Type /who. You get a list of all the players in the zone. And there I am. Just me. It's well, the thing is, the modern EverQuest 1 experience, if you can call it that, basically when you create a character, you all get funneled to the same starter city, and there's a bunch of modern style quests there. So anyone who's accidentally stumbled into this game on a nostalgic "what's this all about" type thing will just get funneled through a quest chain there, and then up to the top end via a load of probably a lot more streamlined narrative than is here now. So the old school starter towns. Hello, bandit camp.
Wow,
it's an encounter, and
that reminds me oddly of Driller.
Yeah, they're all vastly more powerful than me. So go back to where you're supposed to be, young druid. But I refuse to. I'm going on the road still.
Oh, you could kill that.
I could have a go. It would leave me out of breath and incapable of fighting for another sort of 10 minutes, though, probably. I'd have to ration my time, you see. It was always more efficient to... Because you couple that with the death penalty, you will lose experience. You'll have to run from wherever your starter city was to where your body was to collect your stuff. Dying was a really big deal, so it made you not take risks. You always went for the blue stuff. Sometimes you went for the green stuff if your build was having trouble or your spec was a particularly underpowered class.
I've got an observation.
Yeah?
The artist in this game doesn't understand what paths are.
This is the old school map. They hadn't remodelled this one. I was quite pleased. Okay, decaying skeleton. I think I can do those. I'm going to try and eke out another drop of XP from this wretched world.
He died very quickly.
Yeah, got him. I think I'm gaining in proficiency in something or other. So, yep. There's me checking my XP bar again. There was a lot of that. There's a path that goes nowhere. It never did. I never understood why. Just goes up there and stops.
Why does it meander like it does? Is it for drunk people? And if it's for drunk people, why do the drunk people always go in the same pattern?
That's the shortest path for the cattle to the river or something. I don't know.
But it wobbles.
Oh,
metre to metre, it wobbles.
It's
not
a
a
retro.
path. It was done by some city folk who've never been to the country.
Never been in the countryside before. Here's me exploring the boundaries of the box. You had a lot of this. Suspiciously linear, very high walls.
Yeah.
That's how you kept people in the box.
I was making some of them yesterday.
Invisible force fields everywhere. But at least they had the decency to put a really high slope on them as well. So yeah, here's me running on a big adventure to another city, and it's not noticeably changed yet. Hopefully this will give the viewer some idea of distances involved in travelling in this game. There are a lot of shortcuts and teleports and things available nowadays, but they tend to go from there. We go. That's the mighty city of Felway, the capital of the High Elf people.
Did you run straight into an orc?
I ran straight into an orc, yeah. Whoops. Luckily, I think this is one I can kill. It's got the correct colour. I'm allowed to kill this one without dying. It was a very restrictive, prescribed experience. There was such a vast and exciting world, and I spent so much of my time living off the possibilities and imagination of what these distant zones were going to be like, and so little of my time actually going there and doing stuff and fighting creatures, you know? It was... I basically made half of the game for me in my own head, and that's what kept me going. It was the promise that this drudgery will stop, and that there'll be something amazing around the corner one day. And yeah, it took me 2 years to realise that no, actually it's just going to have different textures, different monsters. But I still play lots of MMOs. Fortunately, though, for me, you know, my addictive susceptibility, the basic format of an MMO has changed beyond recognition from what this is to something that's a lot more palatable, a lot more manageable, a lot more light and interesting.
They don't...
it's a bit of bloom. I don't remember it blooming quite that much last time. Right, here we go. Here's a classic S-shaped corridor.
Yep.
Yep. Can't show people distant views or they'll blow their computers up. So S-shaped corridor and loading, please wait. There we go. Transition smooth, silky, seamless transition there.
Wow. That's...
Entering Felway, loading, please wait. And still waiting. And now a splash screen. I don't remember those. Wow. When did they add that? That's amazing. All right, and here we are. Got through the other side, and this is where the High Elf city is. They're different to Wood Elves because they're not made of wood and are quite tall. I don't know. Yeah. Here's a weird Hexen map. Heretic probably. I don't know.
I love the shadows. This game does not do shadows well.
Yeah, even today. The shadows that blow through the walls as well. They're quite fascinating. You'll see a good one in a second. So here's some little shops and stuff. I think those discs are supposed to be mirrors or something. I don't know. There we go. Shopkeepers shadowing through the wall. Let's pop inside and see what's casting this weird phenomena. There you go.
One of them.
Who knows?
Oh no, the other one is there as well.
Yeah, it's great. So these will be little shops full of goods and services that are all outrageously expensive and generally not for adventurers.
Can I just say that I don't think they use a single speed tree for their trees.
Trees didn't speed back then. There's a suspiciously large moon. Yeah, fishing. It had fishing. It was really dull. But I quite like dull fishing. That's something that's stayed with me throughout. This city's so big and mind-blowingly amazing they had to break it into 2 chunks. You complain about console memory limits nowadays, my god. So in a minute we're going to go to the other half of the city where it's broadly very similar.
Is that another long loading time?
Yes. We're coming. Don't worry, we're coming to the end of this. Quite. If this has been painful for you, imagine what life would have been like for me. That 2 years, that 2 years back in the noughties or whatever, when I spent most of my time in huddled terror, experiencing the vastness of this magical virtual reality experience. Well, if you're interested in anything you've seen here today, then
Seek
you're
help.
wrong. I honestly couldn't recommend this to anyone. I recorded this yesterday, so this is live. This is what EverQuest is now. You can play this.
Ghost Town.
You can play this now if you like. Yeah, I imagine it's a bit busier and more interesting at Crescent Reach or wherever the noobs go these days. And I imagine once you get near the top end, there's probably still guilds and raiding and all the rest of it. It's going to be full of people who never left, though, because I can't imagine if you compare.
That's not very practical.
If you compare this experience with the brand new experience of something like Rift or whatever, which are you going to pick? If you've got no real ties here.
Yeah.
This is entirely a nostalgic thing now. Nostalgic for me. It's nice to go back to the old places, though. And in a way, yeah, this is as real to me as an old neighbourhood you grew up in or went to school in real life. These are experiences I've had. Here we go, me pushing the camp button and drawing this to a close. So there you go, EverQuest. It is free to play. You can go and have a look right now if you like.
But don't.
But probably don't. And I'm probably never going to play this character again either. Goodbye. And with that, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye. Hey.